to marketers came through the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority in a statement issued in Abuja by the agency's General Manager, Corporate Communications and Stakeholders Management, Kim Chiapolo. According to the statement, the government vowed to deal with all marketers who reject POS machines or bank transfers from customers, stressing that the move became vital following reports that some filling stations were culpable as regards this development, despite the severe cash crunch nationwide. Meanwhile, the federal government has approved 67 new broadcast licenses for radio and television stations across the country. The Director General of the National Broadcasting Commission, Balarabe Ilela, disclosed that 302 broadcast stations breached the National Broadcasting Commission (NBC) code in the last 2 years. Ilela called on broadcasters to continue to abide by the NBC Act, the Nigeria Broadcasting Code, the Electoral Act, and other extant laws that guide media operations to ensure that the general elections are free, fair, and credible. The Commission said it had deployed all the technical and operational facilities for the monitoring of the forthcoming general elections.
That the intrinsic democratic nature or values of President Muhammad Buhari has just approved new licenses. What I was claiming here, we got the approval. The President has approved new 67 licenses to join the Committee of Broadcasting in the country. Later in my speech, I will make the detail of I'll give you the detail of how many television stations and how many radio stations, but what we have now is 67 new licenses are going to be given, have been approved by the President, and the Commission will soon start issuing licenses. So those who have already applied are very much welcome to come to the Commission to check if their names included in the list. This brings the total of 473 licenses approved so far by the President. In the history of MBC, in the history of this country, there has never been a president who approved such a number of licenses. 473 within his own table. That shows that the President is media friendly. Gentlemen of the press, let me use this opportunity to announce the approval of 67 new broadcast licenses by President Muhammad Buhari and publicly unveil the list to the general public today. This is a great milestone in furthering that shows that the President is media friendly. Gentlemen of the press, let me use this opportunity to announce the approval of 67 new broadcast licenses.
All away from that, President Muhammadu Buhari has sent condolences to the United Arab Emirates UAE Presidential Court following the demise of Sheikhia Maryam. Maryam was the mother of Sheikhia Salama and the wife of the President of the UAE, Sheikh Mohammed. In a message by his media aide, Garba Shehu, President Buhari said he is deeply saddened by the demise of his mother-in-law. The President commended the Emir for his cordial relationship with the government and the people of Nigeria. On electoral matters now, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has insisted that there will not be another extension for the deadline for the collection of permanent voter cards (PVCs) before the general elections. The Commission said it needs to move its staff away from the issuance of PVCs to other sectors that need attention ahead of the elections. In an interview, the INEC National Commissioner and Chairman of Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, disclosed that the Commission will gather uncollected PVCs and deposit them at the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, until after the 2023 elections.
Cases, over 300 are right now before the Court of Appeal. 155 before the Supreme Court as at Monday this week. I'm sure about it.
Well, still on electoral matters, the Independent National Electoral Commission has solicited the support of the Nigerian Bar Association in handling its numerous pre-electoral cases in courts across the country. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu made the call when he hosted a delegation of the Nigerian Bar Association led by its president Yakubu Michael at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. Yakubu said that INEC had been joined in the 1,241 intra-party lawsuits in different courts of the country as of February 6, not on elections conducted by INEC, but on primaries conducted by political parties for the nomination of candidates for the 2023 general election. He added that some of the cases had gone to the Federal High Court, while some were before the Court of Appeal and others were before the Supreme Court. The INEC chairman requested the support of the NBA in handling some of the cases, particularly pro bono service to the nation.
Our association is solidly behind INEC. That we owe Nigerians as members of the legal profession, either serving on the bench or at the bar, is sincere participation in the electoral process, as we are called upon to participate in the pre-election and post-election disputes, because those matters will certainly come before the courts, and it is our lot, it is our responsibility to participate in that process in the resolution of these disputes one way or the other. We can only help.
In a separate development, the Office of the National Security Advisor, NSA, has expressed fears that recent policies introduced by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, may frustrate military operations if not properly executed. The National Security Advisor, Babagana Mungono, made this known while appearing before the House Ad hoc Committee on the CBN's cashless policy and to extend the time frame of the currency swap in Abuja. The security advisor, who was represented by Abubakar Mustafa, stated that due to the sensitivity of some of the information bordering on security and the CBN's cashless policy, the agency will face difficulty in paying officers on the battlefields. Meanwhile, Nigerians and bank customers are gripped with confusion and uncertainty over today's deadline by the Central Bank of Nigeria for the phasing out of the old Naira note. They are unsure if the deadline still remains or has been suspended following the Supreme Court injunction obtained by some northern governors. Recall that the Supreme Court had ruled that the deadline should be suspended pending the determination of the case brought before it by the governors of Kaduna, Kogi and Zamfara State. But the court has fixed February 15 to entertain the case. Meanwhile, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, in a response to the suit, said the Supreme Court lacked jurisdiction on the matter. Elsewhere, the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria have lamented the rate at which the country is losing its professional nurses and midwives to foreign countries. The council disclosed that over 14,000 nurses had left Nigeria for greener pastures in many countries across the world. Secretary General and Registrar of the Council, Dr. Farouk Abubakar, disclosed this at the opening of a retreat for top management of the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria in Akure, the Ondo State capital. He noted that part of the strategies to curb the migration of nurses in the country is to increase the admission quota in schools, grant approval for the establishment of more colleges of nursing, and accredit nursing departments in eligible universities in the country. In Africa, East African Community EAC leaders have been urged to fast-track the deployment of additional troops in the regional force deployed to Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Former Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta, a mediator for the East African Community, says more troops need to take up positions in areas where armed groups have been withdrawn. Kenyatta expressed concern over the deteriorating security situation in North Kivu province, where M23 rebels have clashed with security forces in recent weeks. But still in Africa, the European Union ambassador to Rwanda has reportedly announced €22 million in renewed funding till 2026 in support of the country's hosting of refugees transferred from Libya. In 2019, Rwanda signed an agreement with the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees to evacuate refugees and asylum seekers in need of international protection from Libya to Rwanda. Since September 2019, refugees and asylum seekers from Libya have been evacuated. Meanwhile, more than 900 have left Rwanda to resettle in other countries, the majority in European Union countries, including Sweden, France, Belgium, as well as Finland.
And I was just saying that the financing part, the resource, is something that without which we couldn't do much. So when these people are evacuated from Libya, where they are going through tremendous trauma, they arrive here in Rwanda, that have given the space for them to find security first, to be able to be assessed and see how we can find a durable solution for them. I think it's a very great step that we have achieved.
So I think that this is a very significant support. It really is an expression of our commitment to support these initiatives, and we will continue assessing the needs and seeing how best we can be part of the solution. And I think that, yes, to be working and supporting some of the African solutions to that situation.
On our foreign scene, Ukrainian Air Force says Russian forces struck Ukraine's southern Zaporizhzhia city and the northeastern Kharkiv region with dozens of missiles. The Air Force said on its Facebook page that the Russian attacked Kharkiv region and the Zaporizhzhia region with up to 35 S-300 surface-to-air missiles that cannot be destroyed in the air. With the air defense, the agency added that Russian forces also fired C-300 surface-to-air missiles from across the border in Belgorod and from the occupied city of Tokmak in southern Ukraine. Still on the foreign scene, air raid sirens are in effect across Ukraine morning as officials warned of a potentially widespread Russian missile attack. Explosions have already been reported in the Ukrainian-held city of Zaporizhzhia and the Kharkiv region, as well as the threat of missile strikes being reported elsewhere in the country. Head of the Odessa region military administration in Ukraine's south, Maksym Marchenko, said on Telegram that there is a Russian aviation in the sky and that the Caliber-type missile carriers are in the sea. Ukrainian officials reported sporadic Russian attacks with Iranian-shaded drones, the kind of air defense exhausting assault that has often preceded a wider wave of missile strikes. According to them, there do not appear to have been casualties from the Shahid attacks. Still to come in the news. African qualifiers, Super Eagles play Guinea-Bissau in Morocco. Please stay with us. Welcome back and many thanks for staying tuned. On our business news, Naira scarcity caused by the Central Bank of Nigeria's redesign and cash withdrawal policy has pushed point-of-sale transactions to 807.16 billion naira in January 2023. Now, according to new data from the Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, total cashless transactions in Nigeria rose by 45.41% to 39.58 trillion naira in January 2023. Now, recall that in 2022, the CBN had announced a Naira redesign policy withdrawal limit and encouraged Nigerians to adopt electronic forms of transactions. Meanwhile, the CBN said that the maximum weekly limits for cash withdrawals across channels by individuals and corporate organizations shall be 500,000 naira and 5 million naira, respectively. Still on business, the Deputy Minister for Overseas, Koreans and Consular Affairs, Republic of Korea, Cho Young, has described Nigeria as the gateway to unlocking the potentials of the African continent's blue economy. Cho Young stated this during a courtesy call on the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency NIMASA in Lagos, led by Korean Ambassador to Nigeria Kim Young. He commended the sustained and improved security situation in the Gulf of Guinea with the strong presence of Nigeria, adding that the Korean government looks forward to continuous support from the Nigerian government in the area of intelligence and information sharing. The Deputy Minister added that Korea is a foremost maritime country with highly recognized capacity in the areas of shipbuilding and ship repairs, noting that Nigeria is willing to partner Korea in shipbuilding for the short, medium and long-term benefit of both countries. To health matters now, the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, NESG, have signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the United Nations Children's Fund to address the menace surrounding poverty and rights violation among children in Nigeria. The partnership, which was officially signed at the launch of the NESG UNICEF MOU and Partnership to Tackle Child Rights Infringements and Poverty in Abuja, will receive support from the federal government. Speaking of the partnership, the group chairman, Niyi Yusuf, said children remain a vital part of the mandate of the group and believes that urgent action is required to ensure they do the right thing to promote the development of Nigerian children. He added that Nigerian children represent the assets of the country, stressing that it is important that they invest and plan to ensure that these children will become leaders tomorrow. Still in health, the federal government has said it is determined to eradicate the circulating vaccine-derived poliovirus type 2 in 2023. The federal government also said 96% of the local government areas in the country have achieved 100% in the outbreak response against the circulating vaccine-derived poliovirus type 2. Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Faisal Shuaib, said this at the Northern Traditional Leaders Committee on Primary Healthcare Development Delivery Review meeting in Abuja. He said the lower the population immunity, the longer these viruses survive, and the longer they survive, the more they replicate, change, and exchange genetic material with other enteroviruses as they spread through a community. To sports now, Morocco's Royal Football Federation has confirmed that the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier between Nigeria and Guinea-Bissau is set to be played in Morocco. The Super Eagles will be facing the Jutus twice later in March, and victories in the games will see the three-time African champions pick the ticket to Ivory Coast next year. Nigeria currently tops their group with 6 points following wins over Sierra Leone in Nigeria before thrashing Sao Tome and Principe 10-0 away from home. Nigeria will be hosting Guinea-Bissau at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, or the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium in Uyo on March 20, before traveling to Morocco for the reverse fixture 1 week later. But still in sport, Real Madrid have proved that they can find the net even if they must take to the field without talisman Karim Benzema in Saturday's Club World Cup final against Saudi Arabia's Al Hilal in Morocco. Carlo Ancelotti's side, reigning European and Spanish champions, are aiming to win the competition for a 5th time and build confidence after a shaky start to 2023. Meanwhile, Madrid captain Benzema missed the semi-final with a thigh injury, but is set to train with the squad on Friday before the final. On entertainment, Hogwarts Legacy, a major video game adaptation of the wizarding world created by J.K. Rowling, has arrived following a fierce online debate. The game had broken records for the number of people watching streamers playing review copies. At one point, it reported that 1.3 million people were watching content related to the game on Twitch. Viewers are calling for a boycott due to Rowling's public comments on issues about transgender roles. While some have pushed against the boycott, arguing that choosing to play the game doesn't automatically mean they support the author's statement. But despite the controversy, it is predicted by some to be the biggest selling premium release of 2023. But still in entertainment, Nollywood movie legend Nkema War, popularly known as Osofia, has described Nigerian movie stories as far better than those of Bollywood and Hollywood. Osofia made the remark in an interview in Enugu. According to him, Nigerian movies present real-life stories and happenings around them, noting that it is wrong to compare the quality of Nigerian films with those coming from the advanced countries. He said Nigerian film producers were only using technology imported from such advanced countries to improve their movies. The actor called for patience among upcoming actors, saying they should follow their progress gradually. Well, that's all we have for you at this time. Many thanks indeed for joining us. Don't forget, you can always connect with us on all our social media platforms. And do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website. Just search spectrumtv.ng. You've been watching the news at 12. I am Raymond Ita. Thanks for watching and bye for now.